Hey guys, this is Jay Calderon with Jay Unboxing here, giving you a personal prediction for the welterweight title clash between belt holder Yordenis Ugas and living legend Manny Pacquiao. And as always, this is just my personal take. Yours, of course, can be left down in the comments section below. Would love to hear all your predictions. A little bit of fight info here. We have Pacquiao versus Ugas, who is defending a portion of the welterweight title at 147 pounds. It is a Showtime pay-per-view coming out of the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, while this is not the title fight we expected to be getting this weekend, as we expected to see Pacquiao take on Errol Spence in what could only be described as an incredibly big fight for both of them in completely different ways, this is equally a tough fight for both of them in completely different ways. So while maybe not the draw that the initial fight was going to be, Ugas versus Pacquiao is certainly an intriguing showdown that we get to watch. We really get to see whether or not Pacquiao still has what it takes to compete with, some of the bigger names in the division that are certainly younger than he is, as he's, really at an advanced age for a fighter. And for Ugas, we really get to see how good he can be. He's put in some decent performances and really kind of showed some signs of relevancy by, effectively winning a fight in a lot of people's minds against Sean Porter. So now it'll be interesting to see how he does in what, of course, has to be described as the biggest fight of his career. So without much more fiddling around here, let's get into the breakdown. Starting with Pacquiao. For Pacquiao to win, I think he needs to feint before throwing the jab. Ugas has the reach advantage and can time his counters really well. Therefore, to me, it makes sense if Manny tries to offset that by heavily relying upon feints. Manny likes to move in and out, and feinting that movement itself as well as the jab can kind of draw out the Ugas jab, which leaves Yordenis himself open to counters from the faster Pacquiao. Then, when you have him guessing, you can switch between feinting first and looking to simply throw the jab right away and really begin to score and pick up more points. I would also say work your way into a position to throw punches and bunches. At his best, Pacquiao is something like controlled chaos. You don't want him wild and rushing in, but you don't want him so tame that you take away his ability to use his natural abilities. However, with counterpunchers, you have to be careful. Therefore, it's important for Pacquiao to start by catching Ugas with those feints and those jabs before starting to unlock his combinations. Once that happens, the activity will make it much harder for Ugas to just sit back and try to counter everything, and will of course force him to maybe even throw himself a lot more punches than he's accustomed to, leaving him open to the counters from Pacquiao. And I would also say don't avoid the body attack. At times Pacquiao may just need to score, and that could mean landing to the body as well. Pacquiao isn't a prolific hooker to the body, but he can aim straight shots to the belly that can score and slow his man down. And this can work against a counterpuncher like Ugas as well, because it makes him lower that guard and concern himself with where the shots are going, and you can exploit that by landing up top as well as downstairs. Now, for Ugas to win, I think he needs to keep the jab loose and flowing. The key for both men will ultimately be who wins the battle of the jabs. However, for Ugas, if his jab doesn't get going, it's hard to imagine how he keeps the fight competitive, much less gives himself a chance to win. He needs to pump that jab out, look to counter with it, look to double it up. If he can average landing about 10 to 15 a round and throwing about double that at least, he could find himself banking rounds from the get-go and really put Pacquiao into a position where he maybe has to overplay his hand. I would also say keep your man on the outside of your reach. Ugas is the bigger man with a bit of a reach advantage as well. So with that, he should look to use the jab and those dimensions to his benefit on the night. Keep Pacquiao outside and don't allow him to score. If he is able to come inside, it'll be rushed and less often. So either you're able to catch him or he's in there just eating your jabs. This can set up those big shots later on when frustration sets in and Pacquiao may be more prone to lunging in. Finally, believe you can actually win this fight. And that may seem an obvious one, but I don't think it can be stated enough in certain instances. Ugas can win, and he should believe he can win. However, whether it's due to the legend of the man, the skills of the man, or the influence that man may have on the judges, Ugas has to block all of that out and fight. He has a style that can trouble smaller, aggressive fighters, and he needs to use that style. That's all he can control, and he has to believe that's enough to win. Otherwise, he fights out of his comfort zone, trying to be someone he is not, and that plays into the hands of the very talented Pacquiao. Now, in terms of my pick here, in my humble opinion, the odds for this fight are a little bit wide, and we'll get into those in a little bit, but while Pacquiao should be the favorite, this is a tricky fight, and if he's not focused, this is a fight that's a real banana peel. If Pacquiao is focused and hasn't somehow aged overnight, I do expect him to win, but it's close. Still, while it may be nip and tuck at first, I think the work and volume of Pacquiao will get to Ugas possibly enough to hurt him, which will make him less likely to counter. And once that happens, Pacquiao takes from that and continues on. I mean, he'll end up having an easier time scoring and win a reasonably comfortable decision in the process. Though both might taste the canvas due to flash knockdowns, that would not surprise me at all, especially early on. Either way, I see it as Pacquiao via unanimous decision in this one. As I mentioned, the betting odds for this are a little bit wide for me. It has Pacquiao at a minus 430 with Ugas at a plus 300. It's not that they're so crazy or out of this world wrong. It's just that I think when you have a talented, bigger, hungry fighter like Ugas who is really coming into his own as of late, and you have a fighter in Pacquiao who obviously is an advanced age and has been through wars and is facing a bigger, talented fighter, a Cuban schooled fighter at that. It's a tricky fight. It's a really tricky fight. I do expect Pacquiao to have enough to win, but to me, these are really odds that kind of suggest maybe laying a small bet on Ugas. Again, he probably doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. It's going to be a tough fight for him as well, and there's a good chance he might lose. But if you have a small money bet that you're willing to lay on there and potentially lose, it's certainly value, in my opinion, placing a bet on Ugas. For me, Pacquiao is just a straight up bet that I'm staying away from. In any event, my prediction record going into the weekend is 28-7-3 with 11 exact. Let me know what you guys think, though, down in the comments. What do you think of the odds? Are they a little too wide? Do you see you guys pulling off the upset? If you think Pacquiao's going to win, and that'll probably be most of you, what do you think's going to happen in the fight for him to win? We'd love to hear all your thoughts, predictions, bets, so on and so forth. Please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter at jcalderon_JOB. You can email me at junboxing@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you there. Also, be sure to check out junboxing.com for schedule, results, betting odds, rankings, and more. And as always, until next time.